Hi guys, Uncle Jeff here, and this is my testimony and my story. I know I only have 3 minutes, so I'll go ahead and get started, and here we go. I was raised in upstate New York. I had a wonderful childhood. I had 2 loving parents, a great brother and sister, a lot of friends. Growing up in a small town, it's kind of like being raised by a very, very large family. My parents were Unitarian Universalists, so I really didn't have a lot of exposure to Christianity. And my exposure to Christianity was really through people who I knew who attended these very small, judgmental, legalistic type churches in my town. And so I didn't have a very favorable impression of what it meant to be a Christian. I moved to Atlanta shortly after college and experienced the same thing there, and really didn't find a place, a church where I clicked. I've always been seeking. I always knew that there was more out there for me. I always knew that God had a plan for me, that God would find a way to speak to me, but I just didn't make that connection. I'd been through a long period of loneliness. I married late in life, and really not having the comfort of God in my life and Jesus. It was really kind of a lonely existence for a long period of time. Met my first wife, thought everything was great. We got married, and things turned out that they were not so great, and a lot of issues surfaced after we got married that really made it extremely difficult and a very, very tough situation. We actually separated a number of times, tried to make it work, but things continued to get downhill over time. In 2009, I spent a fair amount of time in San Diego on a project, and there was a job opening there in late 2009 that really was a perfect fit for me. But of course, I had family back in Atlanta. I was still married, and didn't raise my hand for it. Tried to make things work in my marriage, but things continued to get downhill. And I can remember driving home from work one day in Atlanta, and every day I would drive by the Chattahoochee National Wildlife Area, which is just this absolutely stunningly beautiful wildlife refuge with wetlands, waterfowl, all sorts of animals, and there's a large parking area where you can pull off the side of the road and sit along the water and just kind of rest and relax and enjoy the scenery. I had particularly hit a really difficult stretch, but I had never really, in my prayers to God, asked Him for anything. I always felt He was busy providing for others and wouldn't have time for me. But this time was different. I had really reached a low point, and so I pulled over. I said a prayer, and I told God that I was turning my life over to Him, and would trust that He would provide me the answers I needed to have, that He would look out for me, and that He had a plan for me. I got home about 45 minutes later and happened to check my email, and that job I'd mentioned that was open earlier in the year actually reopened, and there it was. And so happens the manager happened to be visiting Atlanta the next day from San Diego, and I spoke to him, and he made me the job offer, and I accepted the job offer. I knew that was God's plan for me, and that He was speaking to me loudly, and unfortunately I did end up divorcing my first wife, and I got a fresh start. I moved to San Diego, and about several months after I moved here, I had a dream one night about a woman I had met, and she was perfect in every way. I remember her voice in my dream. I remember what she looked like. And about 2 months later, I met her. And that's the woman I'm married to now, and that's Sharon. So clearly, God was at work in my life. And we continued to attend a church in the San Diego area, but neither one of us felt that we were being particularly fed by it. I had made my commitment and turned my life over to God and to Jesus and asked and recognized Jesus as being my Savior. We found out the Rock Church was opening up a campus right next door to where we live. And so we've been attending the Rock Church ever since. Of course, I've got involved in the worship team, and it has been just an unbelievably amazing experience. And I love every minute of it. We have been so blessed by what we've experienced at the Rock Church, and it has been truly God's work in connecting us with the Rock Church. I just can't say, I don't have words to express what it has meant to us and what the love of God and the love of His Son has meant to Sharon and I. We are both happier than we've ever been. We've both had difficult times, but we are truly, truly blessed. And I love all of you guys. And again, I thank all of you for your support. And I thank you all for the opportunity to worship with you on Sundays and to make amazing music with you. And I look forward to continuing that for many years in the future. God bless all of you. And that's my story.